and welcome to High on Coding. I'm your host Mohammad Azam, and in this video I will show you how you can set up TeamCity to build your application or to serve, which will serve as the build server. Okay, so the first thing is you have to go to the TeamCity JetBrains website, select the products like TeamCity. Now you can download the professional version, which is free, that's the one that I have running, and it will give you 3 build agents, which we're going to see what build agents are, 20 user accounts, so that's pretty cool, and 20 build configuration. If you want something more, then you have to purchase additional build agents or a different account, like a enterprise account. Okay, so download this, install this, which is pretty easy. So once you got this installed, it's going to ask you that which port you want to execute this build server. So I entered 81. So if I go to port 81, and since my machine is my server, so I can access it using localhost. Okay, so I'm already logged in, but when you will try to access this port or any other port that you put over in the configuration during the installation, you can just go to that port and it will pull up a credential screen where you enter your username and password. Okay, so this is the main setup page, and the application that I'm working on is the same as eStudy application. If you haven't checked out the eStudy screencast, then I highly recommend that you do so. Also, if you haven't checked out the GitHub screencast, then I highly recommend that you do so, because you are going to need a little bit of background of how to push data into GitHub. And here's the screencast that I'm talking about. Oops. Setting up repository on GitHub and pushing first project. And also check out these eStudy screencasts. These are very useful. eStudy 1, eStudy 2, 3. So this can be considered 4. Also Rake, you should check out Rake also, because I'm going to use all these things in this one. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is you have to create a project. Okay, in my case I already have a project called eStudy, which is right over here. So I'll select eStudy, and let's check out the build configuration, because that's the important part. So I'm just going to go to edit settings. The first thing you can say is the default build or the name. So I'm just saying default build, and this build will run whenever someone checks in the code. You can change the build format, the numbering format, the build counter, which means that how many builds you have currently ran. So I have ran like 19 builds, and there are different options that what will be the result or how you will want to fail the build. So it's like at least one test fail and out of memory and all that stuff. Okay, so this is the easy page that you will just write the information. Let's move to the version control settings. I just clicked on menu on the right hand side, and it will give you options for different version controls. As you can see, most of the version controls are listed over here. So I'm a Git fan, so I selected Git by JetBrains. If you are using TeamCity 4, then you might have to download an additional plugin to work with Git. So I'm using TeamCity 5, and I think this link is also for TeamCity 5, as you can see. So this has a built-in for for Git. So you can also type the root name or the name of your source control. I'm just saying, okay, eStudy Git version control. The clone URL where your project is hosted on GitHub. The branch name, usually it's master branch that you want to pull, right? Clone repository, I'm not doing anything. I don't think this username style makes any difference. The other thing, and this is very important, is the authentication method. And there are different things: anonymous, default, private key, password, or private key. So I selected private key because when you are creating an account on GitHub, it will give you 2 keys. One is a public key and one is a private key. So you will actually you have to generate those keys, right? And once you generate those keys, if you check out this screencast over here, the setting up the repository on GitHub, it will show you how you can create those particular keys. And I'm giving this is the path to the private key. Okay, so you have to give the path to the private key. How will you know that that's a private key? Well, you're going to open this file id_rsa in this particular path, or whatever path in your machine is, and it will say that it's a private key, it's not a public key. Okay, also the public key in the description is like PUB, which is like public key. Checking interval is basically how many times or what is the time interval that it will check the repository. It's okay, 60 seconds is pretty good. Okay, so let's move to the build configuration rake. So rake is actually used to run the build script. Okay, or that is a build script which is used to run the unit test. It's going to build the application, it's going to like documentation and all this stuff. So I have a rake over here, which is build runner rake, and I have other things over here. So I'm just going to select rake. Then you have to give the path to the rake file, and the path to the rake file, since my build server is my local machine, so the path is basically on my local machine, which is a rake file or whatever. I'm not running anything else like these kind of RSpec and Shoda and other frameworks in Cucumber, so I didn't really do anything over there. Let's move to the build triggering. Now this is important because build trigger is basically that when or will the build be triggered, so that the server, your build server, is actually going to pull out the information from the source control, okay, and start the build. So the quiet period is very important because you can have a default value which is 60 seconds. So which this means is that if you check in one file, and if you have 10 files to check in and you're just checking in individually, like one file at a time, so it's not going to start the build as soon as you check in. Okay, so the quiet period means that you have 60 seconds to check in all the files, which is like 1 minute to check in all the files that you have, and after 1 minute it's going to start the build. Because it happens that a user is checking in file, we have like 5 other files and he checks in, and then 10 other files and he checks in. So it's going to wait for 1 minute until all the files are actually checked in and start the build. Now you can customize it to 10 seconds or something else, but 60 seconds is pretty cool. Okay, so let's actually do that. Okay, let me go over there, and I'm just going to write a test, public void test fail. I'm going to say fail because I'm going to fail this test. Third.r equal 1 is equal to 2, which is of course false, right? So this is my code, and I'm going to go to, this is a git add. I'm going to push this code on the production or on the QA or whatever you would like to call it, failed test. Okay, git push, and I'm going to push it to the master branch, because when I will push to the master branch, it's going to invoke that's the branch that is being handled by the TeamCity. So TeamCity is looking at the master branch, and whenever anything is pushed on the master branch, then it's going to pull it out. Now I also have this notification thing running. It's called I think like Windows notifier on the Windows tray notifier, which is pretty cool because I can just, it's a service that's running, and it's going to tell me when the build actually starts and when the build actually it failed or succeeded. So let's go over here and check out some other things. There are dependencies, and here we go. So the build has started. It's like a small pop-up thing, and it's going to tell you that build has started, and then it's going to tell you the build has failed. That's because the test that we just created, it's a bogus test and it's going to fail, right? So let me go over here, and I am going to just remove the test and build it again. And let's see if I can do add, and I'm going to do a let's type something, failed test removed, and push it out again. So as soon as I push out, it's going to wait, I think, for like 10 seconds. The build will start. It's going to pull the information from the GitHub, from the clone URL that I specified from the master branch, and then it's going to run, and well, this time it should pass. The other thing that you need to set up is the agent. So agent is basically who is responsible for running the build. So you will just, set up one agent, just like I have set up one agent over here.